From any set piece or phase play, there are two predetermined lines that all players should be aware of. The first is the gain or advantage line, which runs through the middle of the contest, from one touch line to the other, and parallel to the goal line. The second predetermined line is the offside line, which runs behind the hindmost body part of players involved in the contest, from one touch line to the other, and parallel to the goal line. This line stipulates how close the defending team can get to the gain line and the opposition. While the attacking team also has an offside line, generally speaking they align in a way that does not encroach this area. Once the ball has been cleared, there is a third line that comes into existence, called the tackle line, or the tackle zone. This line is a theoretical line approximately halfway between the defensive line and the attacking line. This midpoint occurs behind the gain line, which means if all things are equal, the attacking team will continue to lose ground to the defence. Therefore, we are about to look at ways in which the advantage can be swung back to the attacking team, and how we can manipulate certain variables to ensure that the tackle line occurs over the gain line. For an attacking team, not only is there a territorial advantage of getting the ball over the gain line, but there is also a tactical advantage. This advantage is a result of the tackle law that stipulates where supporting players can enter into the breakdown. Any gain in ground by the attacking team will allow the supporting players a more accessible point of entry to the breakdown, thereby increasing the chance of maintaining possession. Before a team executes any back play in a game, the coaches and players should sit down and figure out just exactly what is required from every player in every move. Here, questions to ask include: who is going to be involved in the move? Where is the space going to be created? And how is the ball going to get to that space? Now, while every player should be able to react to whatever happens in front of them, the answers to these questions will provide them with a clear idea on what is required of them. In answering these questions, various concepts may arise, such as alignment, angle, speed, penetration, support, and communication. These are the key factors of backplay, and what we will discuss now. In the traditional sense, alignment refers to the positioning of the players prior to play starting. This alignment begins with the positioning of the first receiver, which can either be in a deep or a shallow position. The lateral support players then position themselves outside the first receiver with an alignment that can either be steep, which increases the space between the attack and the defence, or flat, which obviously decreases the space. The alignment can also be narrow, which decreases the space between the attacking players, or wide, which obviously increases the space. While the starting alignment has some bearing on the decision making of the players, the alignment of the players in motion is perhaps a more appropriate factor to analyse. This is simply because the alignment of the players can vary greatly from starting to finishing position. Generally speaking, a team's alignment is going to be determined by the player's skill level, the opposition's skill level, where you are on the field and where you want to penetrate, and the support structure that you have in place for your team. Angle relates to the running and passing angles that exist between players during an attack. More specifically, these factors have a large influence on the preservation and creation of space. Perhaps the most common coaching cry is that relating to a player who keeps running across the field, which obviously denies their lateral support space through which they can attack. Passing and running angles have a direct relationship whereby a deep pass generally produces a cross-field run, and a flat pass will generally be given to a player running a direct or straight line. There are going to be exceptions to this rule. However, it's important for coaches and players to realise that a relationship exists between the running angles and passing angles of players during an attack. Speed is a key factor of backline play. Not only relates to the running speed of our players, but also the speed of their mind in terms of their decision-making abilities, and the speed of their hands in terms of their ability to catch and pass. While it's important that we attempt to maximise these abilities, there are also instances where a slower running speed or a slower delivery to a penetrating player may be optimal. Obviously, this simply relates to the aim of the back play that we're attempting to achieve.
What about this acceleration here from Tune? Bring back the old days, Latham chiming in.
Penetration is a key factor of backline play. Refers to the ability of one of our players to penetrate the opposition's defensive lines. Obviously here, what we're trying to do is create a mismatch between the attack and the defence by either adding numbers to the attack by using our blindside wings or fullbacks in the attacking line, or taking away numbers from the defence by opening or closing defenders' shoulders, thereby creating space through which a player can penetrate. The penetration simply comes down to pre-planning which player is most likely to penetrate from any given move.
Back on the inside to Tune. McVerry, over the top it goes. Huxley! Rogers comes at Huxley!
Support is the next key factor of backline play, and obviously relates to all those players who are not in possession of the ball. Rugby is a game where often most of the attention is given to the ball carrier. However, it's also just as important for the 14 other players in the team to be very active in their role of support. There are various supporting structures that can be implemented for any team, and is probably outside the realms of the CD. However, it is important that all coaches and players understand just exactly what is required from a player who is not in the possession of the ball.
He's got Tune! Ben Tune! Welcome back, Ben! They're on their feet at Ballyball. One of their favourite sons comes up with a 5-pointer. 2 years in the making, that try. Good on you.
Many players communicate in an inefficient manner, whereby they simply call for the ball at the precise moment that they want it. A more efficient way of communicating would be to consistently talk to the player inside of them, or the player that is going to pass you the ball. This would allow them to pay attention to the defence, leaving you to talk to that player as to what sort of pass that you require, the angle at which you're running, and when you would like the ball. Hopefully, this will lead you to be able to better penetrate the defensive line.
It was a good bust, and they had support, but there's plenty of cover there. Luke McAllister was coming across, and